What if I told you that while you're fast asleep, there's a literal underground party happening right under your nose? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the highly exclusive, microscopic lifeline of some of the oldest survivors on planet Earth, the cockroaches. Let's jump right in.
So, picture this. As soon as your lights go out and the house gets perfectly quiet, these tiny shadows start emerging from all the hidden corners. I mean, for us, it's just bedtime, right? But for cockroaches, that silence is their ultimate cue. For them, it's party time.
Now, these little partygoers are driven by two main biological quirks. First, they're nocturnal, obviously. But second, they have this thing called thigmotaxis. That's basically just a fancy word for their absolute biological love of really cozy, confined spaces. They literally like to have their bodies touching the surfaces all around them. It makes them feel super secure. Because of this, plus the whole nocturnal thing, they only make their grand entrance when the coast is absolutely clear.
Every great party needs a guest list, right? So let's look at Chapter 1, the VIP guests, and meet nature's ultimate survivors. 300 million. Think about that for a second. That's how many years these incredible insects have been throwing this exact same party here on Earth. They've survived wildly changing climates, the dinosaurs coming and going, continents literally shifting, and multiple mass extinctions. So yeah, no wonder they're called nature's ultimate survivors.
Now, we've all heard that old legend, right? The one that says cockroaches will be the only things left after a nuclear bomb? Well, the truth is, they definitely wouldn't survive the intense heat or the crushing shockwave of a nuclear fireball, obviously. But they are incredibly radiation resistant. And here's why. Radiation actually damages cells the most when they're actively dividing. And insect cells, they divide very, very slowly, usually only when the bug is molting. So, unless a roach is right in the middle of shedding its exoskeleton, it can brush off levels of radiation that would be totally lethal to us.
Another massive reason they've been around for hundreds of millions of years is their sheer reproductive prowess. They make absolutely sure their guest list never shrinks by using some wildly diverse reproductive strategies. For example, some species use parthenogenesis, which means they can reproduce entirely asexually, no partner needed. Others carry their eggs safely in little brood pouches, and some even literally tuck their offspring right under their forewings to nurture them. The main takeaway here is that this immense, incredible flexibility allows them to bounce back from pretty much any global cataclysm.
Plus, you got to admit, they are perfectly dressed for the occasion. They rock this extremely sleek, flattened, three-segment exoskeleton made of chitin. Add in those jointed legs, and it allows them to slip effortlessly into the absolute tightest, most exclusive VIP sections of your walls and floors.
But hey, what is a party without some amazing catering? This brings us to Chapter 2, the Midnight Feast. Cockroaches are opportunistic omnivores. That basically means just a few tiny crumbs left on your kitchen table can turn into an absolute grand banquet for them. 522. That is the exact number of distinct taste receptors an American cockroach has. It's wild. They navigate the kitchen buffet brilliantly using all these receptors, which helps them easily distinguish between a safe, tasty crumb and something that might be a harmful substance. But even if they do accidentally eat something dangerous, it's no big deal for them because they are absolute masters of detoxification. Their bodies are literally built to break down toxic chemicals, and yeah, that includes a lot of the stuff found in common household insecticides. Their chemical resilience is just astounding. Although, if you're wondering what they actually prefer to eat at the buffet, well, researchers have found they are quite fond of glazed cinnamon rolls, or get this, boiled potatoes dipped in beer. Who knew? All right, so once the food is locked down, it's time to socialize. Chapter 3, the dance floor. Just imagine hundreds of them gathering, exploring every corner, and communicating with each other in the pitch black.
The crazy thing is, they don't actually keep the good food a secret. When a cockroach finds a really high-quality food source, it releases what are called aggregation pheromones. These are chemical odors that basically act like giant group text messages to all the other roaches in the area. It sends an honest message that guarantees the food is great. It's essentially an open invitation to just come gather around.
And this perfectly highlights the evolutionary genius of the cockroach. You might ask, why share it all? Well, gathering in these massive groups gives them some huge benefits. First off, safety in numbers against predators, standard nature stuff. It also helps them balance their really complex nutritional intake by kind of mixing up their diets. But most importantly, it helps out the babies, the younger cockroaches which are called nymphs.
You see, the adults and the older nymphs are way better at processing food, and by doing so, they make those nutrients available to the little ones who don't usually venture very far from the nest.
Now, navigating this chaotic, super crowded dance floor requires some really serious sensory equipment. To do this, they rely on 356 individual antenna segments, plus these highly sensitive, hair-like bristles on their legs called setae. These bristles are so incredible, they can feel the absolute slightest shift in the air currents around them.
But as we all know, every underground party eventually has an unexpected ending. Chapter 4. The human arrives. This ending is usually triggered by the ultimate party crasher, you, walking into the kitchen for a midnight snack.
You might think the sudden flick of the light switch is what gives you away, right? Well, nope. Long before you ever touch that switch, they already know you're coming. Cockroaches have these things called subgenual organs. They are literal ears located right inside their knee joints. And these organs are so unbelievably sensitive, they can feel the microscopic vibrations from your footsteps. We're talking about sensing something equivalent to an earthquake, as small as 0.07 on the Richter scale. Crazy, right?
So once those little knees feel you coming, their astonishing escape response kicks in, and it clocks in at a literally unbelievable 40 milliseconds. Just to put that into perspective for you, you wouldn't even have time to blink before they start moving.
And this escape isn't just some random chaotic scramble. Oh no, it's a super precise, modular, 4-step maneuver. First, they freeze. Second, they make a postural adjustment. They're literally aiming their center of mass. Third, they elevate their wings. And finally, step 4, they jump. They use this rapid leg extension that releases pent-up stored energy to literally launch themselves away from the threat.
Now think about it. If a bug always ran directly away in a straight line, a predator could super easily predict its path. So to keep you guessing, cockroaches select escape trajectories at fixed, totally unpredictable angles. They rely on some wildly complex neural circuitry to calculate a path that is both lightning fast and completely erratic. This perfectly maximizes their chances of surviving against birds, rats, and of course, humans wielding rolled-up magazines. And just like that, the party ends. As soon as the kitchen light floods the room, the guests vanish instantly. They use these specialized suction pads on their legs to scale smooth glass walls. And that soft, slippery outer skin we talked about allows them to just effortlessly squeeze right back into microscopic cracks. Suddenly, the dance floor is completely empty. Hopefully, this explainer has shown you that seeing a scurrying roach in the middle of the night isn't just some annoying household nuisance. It's actually a pretty spectacular glimpse into a 300-million-year-old biological marvel that has absolutely mastered the art of survival. So the very next time you switch on a light at midnight, ask yourself, whose party are you really interrupting?